Well, let's go back and dive into Magic the Gathering and Hasbro right now because things are off the rails. Their company, once again, is just sinking in, what is it now? Royalty payments? Geez, I wonder who could have seen this coming. Before we get right into the topic, please do me the favor, like, share, subscribe to the video, do all the good YouTube things. It helps grow the channel. Anyway, Hasbro, Mattel shares plunge as toy makers forecast a lackluster holiday season. So no one's buying toys this holiday season? I find that hard to believe. Now, with everything that happened with the pandemic, everyone returning back to the regular holiday season, people probably overspent last year and is tightening the belts a little bit this year. But I don't see that as the sole purpose as why Hasbro's going to do very poorly. They had what looks like a hit with Baldur's Gate 3, upping their revenue for the digital gaming, from the sound of it, by 40% overall, because the game did quite well in that sense, even though to me it looks like a romance simulator over a D&D session. But that's me. That's my opinion on that matter. Everything that I've seen with the game is all about sex and not about role-playing. But when it comes down to toys, they don't really have some big movies going on right now. They had the Dungeons and Dragon movie come out, which kind of didn't really do very well. Then they sold the company that made the movie. So I think they've made some moves here. And now with Magic the Gathering, all their eggs are left in that basket for Magic the Gathering. And they're continuing to push forward with an IP mixture of games. So someone out there in the internet space has put together a little description of Mark Rosewater's blogatog on how they're not going to mix IPs. They're going to create their own universe with Magic the Gathering, and this is over the course of about 10 years, showing how the fall of Magic the Gathering is really taking a bad look at the game of Magic the Gathering and possibly not doing very well for the Hasbro brand overall. Remember, Magic the Gathering only just broke $1 billion last year for sales. When you look at Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, they've been at that level for a very long time as multi-billion-dollar card sales. Would you ever do, just for fun, Magic the Gathering set on a plane of Star Wars? Well, Mark comes back with, we only do sets based on our own IP, intellectual property. Well, that's no longer the case. Now we have Lord of the Rings, we have Doctor Who, we have Marvel, we have Warhammer 40K. Would Wizards ever consider licensing to a different IP and creating cards for it? Do you think this could have a positive effect on the game? We think that it's important for Magic is one of the cohesive games and not a hodgepodge of different things. Geez, what are we doing with Magic the Gathering now? Arabian Nights has been public domain for about 800 years or so. So do you think it counts as IP anymore? Bring back the Djinns and Ifrits. We're still wanting to do our world and not someone else's. We could do a whole new world inspired by Persian flavor, but it would have Aladdin and Sinbad in it. Is there a chance we return to Rabaya? Highly unlikely, as the world is based on someone else's IP. Probably a dumb question, but it is one that I've had for a while. What are the chances you will ever see official Magic the Gathering cards featuring other licensed IP? Too much red tape and such. I know we would all love to see some of our favorite characters on real Magic cards, or at least I know I would. We have decided to focus our energies on our own IP, so it is currently highly unlikely. That was back from October 2014. Could you have a silver-bordered legend based on non-Magic the Gathering intellectual property if the owner was cool with it? By judging by M15 guest cards, there could be quite a few. It would have to be a one-for-one, just something that draws clear inspiration. Our disinterest in the idea stems from wanting Magic cards to be set in our own worlds and not those with other IPs. That was back from December 2015. This is absolutely damning to see where the game has gone in the last 10 years. I mean, they want to throw everything out there for IPs. The whole purpose of the reserve list was to stop paying royalties for cards. What is Magic the Gathering doing now? They are paying out the ass for all these royalties in a program that's just going to self-destruct very soon. Universes Beyond for Magic the Gathering is on a one-way course off the track. It's going to crater into the chasm. There's no Back to the Future here. There is no train that's speeding you up to 88 miles per hour to go back and reverse everything you've done. You've got Magic the Gathering, and it's going to fall flat on its face very soon. Well, Chris Cox, which is the president or CEO of Wizards of the Coast at Hasbro right now, with Cynthia Williams as the CEO of Wizards of the Coast, they're pushing along with this disaster of a train wreck that's just going to continue going. They pissed off every fandom for the game with the open gaming license for Dungeons and Dragons. They've pissed off everyone when it comes to Magic the Gathering. Yeah, there's a few people that are seeing what they're doing with Magic the Gathering, and they're like, oh, hey, cool, Doctor Who is being made onto cards. Well, I guess they so much for thinking for themselves. They have nothing left. I made a video, probably quite a long time ago now, about how Magic the Gathering or Wizards of the Coast is for sale. And they are. They've been sold to the lowest common denominator, and that is their IP is no longer part of the game. They no longer have control of their IP, they no longer have control of their game, and it's just going to erode it even further. It is now just a rule set. Everyone might as well make up your own rules for Magic the Gathering at this place, because what are they going to do? They've already put it out there with everyone else. Make up your own rules, make up your own booster packs, make up your own game at this point, because there's nothing left to the original game that is sacred anymore. That's where we're going. The new reserve list is here, and it's going to be all these IP cards, because you think they're going to ever reprint them, even though they're talking about how the Lord of the Rings set is going to be an evergreen set, so it's always going to be there. It has to be, because if you think you ever want those reprints of those cards, now they have to pay royalties once again. This was something they stopped doing back in the days of Alpha Beta because it was costing them too much money. The game is going to crater. The investors are running for the hills. There's nothing left, and this is why the reserve list was created in the first place, was to protect the game and to actually have the game move along, and a lot of people out there just seem to not understand that. But who am I? I'm just some guy on the internet that has been playing this game since '94. Have yourselves a great day. I'm your proud Canadian Phoenix Cindershadow. I'm signing off here, and I will catch you next time.